Hello, everybody, and welcome to the newest episode of Circuit 42, your favorite podcast slash YouTube channel about whatever we feel like talking about that day. I am your host, Ian, and I am with special guest, podcaster, convention wizard, and professional of all things, Richard Ewell.
Hey, and thanks, man. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Now, for those five people on the internet who don't know who you are, they're like, who is Richard Ewell? What am I doing? Why am I stuck in this box? Who are you, and what do you do?
I'm kind of just an average, ordinary guy, But I'm a horror fan. I'm an overall nerd. I love lots of things. I love wrestling. I love comic books. I love horror movies. I love action figures, GI Joe. My collection is all over the place. But am the host of a podcast called Night of the Nerdy Laser. So Nerdy Laser is sort of my handle online, and it used to be its own podcast, but then we shifted to horror and a play on Night of the Living Dead, named it Night of the Nerdy Laser. And here we are, I think we just recorded our 161st episode. So that's been going on quite a while. And like you mentioned, I don't know if I'd call myself a convention wizard, but I do co-host a horror convention here in the Knoxville area, right outside of Knoxville, Tennessee, called Frankencon, and we are going into our fourth year next year, and we can talk all about that later on. That's been a big part of my life and is pretty much a everyday thing for me. And I love doing it. That's why we do it. Um, my partner is Corey Keelan from the Spooky Dudes podcast, and so we started this thing with our other buddy Matt. 3 years ago, I guess, kind of. And so we've been going since then, and hopefully, with our fourth one, we'll see even more growth.
Nice. I'm really excited for y'all.
Thanks.
So I gotta ask, before we really get into the nitty-gritty of it, what's the last horror movie you watched?
Well, I don't know if I mean, it is a horror movie, I guess, but we just did Species for
Ah,
our 161st show. Um, so that's horror, right? I mean,
yeah. I
sci-fi
mean,
horror.
when I reference a movie, I'm gonna reference horror has many subgenres, as we all know.
Yeah, that's true. But I hadn't seen it in a really long time, but it's one that I rented often back in the day. I was basically a senior when that movie come out in high school, so Natasha Henstridge was right up my alley as
I
far
was gonna
as
say you rented it because of the plot, right?
yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, it was a fun movie. It's not, nostalgia does a weird thing to us. Um, and it's not as probably great as I remember. The last 20 minutes is kind of a slog, but H.R. Geiger did the creature design, so that was awesome. And I'm gonna watch part two, I think, just because I remember liking it, but I can't remember anything about it.
It's definitely a movie. Um,
Yeah.
the I will say like rewatching the bleh, rewatching Species not too long ago. This movie has a banger of a cast. It is kind of ridiculous.
That's what we talked about, man. It is crazy the cast that is in that movie. I mean,
There's
you
a
got
lot of
Michael
people who got a
Madsen,
dump
you
truck
got
full of
Ben,
money at their house.
yeah, you got Michael Madsen, you got Ben Kingsley, you got Michelle Williams. I mean, and it was introducing Natasha Henstridge at the time. You got
Forrest Whitaker, Alfred Molina.
or
It's
yeah,
just
Alfred Doc
yeah,
Ock,
it's kind of insane. And Roger
Mark
Donaldson,
Elkenberger, which she was kind of a big thing at the time.
I don't remember her.
Yeah, she was actually her and Michael Madsen come back for the second one.
Yeah. And then I mean the director of the Roger Donaldson, it's one of those directors who's like he can do something like Cocktail or he can do like 13 Days
He's done
or
everything.
yeah, the fact that he if you ever watched No Way Out, which is still one of the best thrillers ever,
Yeah, I hadn't seen it. I've heard of it, but that's just one that missed my 80s window, I think.
it's really good. It's worth checking out. And
You could add
you
it.
know with those movies where you just don't want to look up anything, you just have to go in and watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those. Don't even watch the trailer.
That's cool. I actually prefer that, I mean, trailers give away so much. And really the last horror movie, I mean, I've been going like I bought this $20 a month pass, right, from our local theater. So I can see three movies a week, which I don't, but the first week I actually did, but now I'm just like once a week, but I'm still saving money.
Yeah.
And so, of course, I buy popcorn, so then I really don't save any money, but it's fine. But Cuckoo, I watched Cuckoo, and I knew nothing
I need
about.
to see that. I really, that's one I'm excited for.
I knew nothing about it, and I mean, you spend about the first hour of that movie just being mad because you don't know what the hell's going on, but then they info dump everything in the second half, so I'm really excited to see that movie again.
Like for me, the last one I watched, and this is why I say that horror, as we say, horror has many subgenres, was a Serial Mom.
Oh yeah, I have that on DVD. I've been meaning to watch it, but I haven't. I just haven't lately.
All right, I'm going to say this: when my mom rented Serial Mom back in 1993, 1994, and she's watching it. She's watched about the first third of the movie. It's summer, so I've got nothing to do, and we've just finished a move. So I come in, and I just sit down, start watching this movie with my mom, and I'm 9 or 10 years old. I'm watching this now as I watched the first, last two thirds of the movie, and I'm like, all right, cool. And I remember everything. Like it's shocking when I rewatch the movie how much I actually remembered. Because a lot of times you have a movie like that, it's like you remember maybe vague things about it, but you don't necessarily remember everything. That
Yeah,
movie must have had some kind of traumatic impact on me when I was 9 years old because I remembered every single detail. Because I watch it now on Netflix. I saw she showed me the movie, and I'm watching it now, and I'm like, I'm just dying. It's freaking hilarious. It's like one of the best. Like, it's not even a dark comedy. This is a black comedy.
yeah,
Um, and like for people who haven't seen it, you've got it's written and directed by John Waters, so it's gonna be subtle and not tacky at all. And it's got Kathleen Turner, Sam Waterston, Ricky Lake, Matthew Lillard, and like you hear that cast, and it's like this front-loaded cast right there. I think it was actually Matthew Lillard's first movie.
hmm. I didn't know he was in
Yeah, he plays the son who's obsessed with horror movies, who I don't think either of us can relate to at all.
that.
Um, but yeah, it's a really fun movie. But I'm watching, I'm like, this is fucked up. Why did my mom show me this movie?
Hey,
Because
my mom took me to Steel Magnolias, so.
oh, and I tagged her on it, and I reminded my mom of it when I posted it. What the fuck? Okay, so apparently my mom's just awesome. It's like, so here you go, watch this. It's like, okay, are you sure? Yeah, go for it. And but I tagged her on it, and she remembered because she directly quoted the movie on there.
That's funny.
And yeah, and she's one of those people like if a movie really remember she really remembers when she's gonna reference it. But there's a movie that's really forgettable, she's gonna forget about it. Like X-Men 3. Like she actually said, and I quote, wait, there was X-Men 3? And I said, yeah, it's pretty bad. There's a reason we can't remember it.
I mean, I want to think that X-Men 3 is a good movie, but it's really not. But it's really not probably as bad as, we let on for it to be. But
Do you
it's
remember the
not great.
part where Xavier exploded for no reason? And
I
do you
mean,
remember the part where they just
I
forget
like
that
to
Cyclops
remember
exists?
I like to remember that they did a Dark Phoenix saga, and they had Angel in it. I thought that was cool, and
Do,
Beast was in it. That was cool.
do you
Uh,
remember the part where Jean Grey's whole thing was bitches be crazy?
it's just really great. I mean,
I, I just put it out there.
it's not a great movie, but we've seen some real. I mean, I watched Borderlands not too long ago, so.
I chose not to. I had to. It says I've told my spouse I don't have enough free time on my hands to waste it. So like for
Yeah,
that and like The Crow, I'm like I don't need to see these.
I I'm actually not a hater of the new Crow. I mean, I went and saw it opening night.
I'm
Well,
gonna watch it when it hits streaming. I'm just not gonna watch it in theaters.
I think it would have been better if it was called, and I've just thrown this name out there, if it was like The Crow Heaven Sent. Like, and if it wasn't Eric Draven and Shelley.
Yeah, because there's so
Just
many different hosts for the Crow in the comics. Where I'm like, we
well,
didn't need
and
an
the
Eric Draven
problem with
story.
this is it's not the Eric and Shelley you know. Like, well, I mean, it's actually a better love story in a way because
That's what I've heard.
you get probably about 40 minutes of them together, whereas in the original you don't. But you know I mean look, I was 16 when the original come out. That soundtrack changed me. Everything about that movie kind of, it. I was a big Brandon Lee fan already because of Showdown in Little Tokyo and Rapid
It was
Fire.
amazing.
And so I mean, I still remember. I think both. I mean, I guess it's the time of class that I had it, but I was in gym class both when I found out Kurt Cobain died and Brandon Lee died.
Oh my
Obviously,
gosh,
not the
that's the
same.
worst gym. I was gonna say that's like the worst gym class ever. Also, it's really long.
Well, gym class sucks anyway,
Yeah.
especially I mean for me when I was in high school. It usually consisted of me and my friend just sitting on the bench, which is how I remember hearing about it.
But yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it on streaming.
Yeah,
Um,
it's not bad. There are some decisions that I would change or enhance, but it's definitely worth the one watch. You know, it's cool. It's got, if nothing else, I'll say it's got the opera house scene.
yeah.
That's worth watching the whole movie just for that.
My thing is like, and I know a lot of people out there will criticize me for it, and they'll be like, "Sir, you're gonna make fun of this movie, but you are proud and have centered your Empire Streams box set." So it's like, yeah, but tacky is tacky. That's why we like tacky. That's why
Well,
we
yeah,
like
I mean,
John Waters.
I grew up on full moon movies, I mean, that was my teenage years. I would go to I mean, I was Charles Band's like perfect customer because I mean, much like him, I based my decision on the cover of the VHS tape.
Make the poster first, then make the
Yep.
movie around it, man. That's how it
Yep.
works.
Yeah, I mean it is kind of genius though, but because I love like Robot Jocks and I mean Robot Jocks is highly underrated.
Oh, dude, Stuart Gordon, man. Like, and the funny thing is, like, even going back and rewatching, because I was on a Stuart Gordon kick, and I'm like, you know what? It's been a long time since I've watched Honey We Shrunk the Kids. First off, the effects in that movie are still amazing. Like, I'm watching those scenes with the animatronics, I'm like, holy crap. And then I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, me and my wife watched that about 3 years ago, probably 2 or 3 years ago. Um, and it's great. I mean, and they're all all practical effects for the most part. Like all the giant scenes, like them in the grass and stuff. It's amazing.
yeah. I always forget that Dean Cundey directed that,
Oh yeah.
which honestly makes a lot of sense with the way it looks. But then I'm like, I was watching because we love horror in this house, and we love Scooby-Doo,
Yeah.
and we were watching because we're just excited because of the fact that you're going to be getting like they were going to be bringing like Witches Ghost and Zombie Island, a bunch of Scooby stuff over to HBO come next month.
Oh
But
yeah, they are.
because the Boomerang, they're closing Boomerang and they're moving everything over.
Okay.
Which honestly makes a lot of sense because we had the Boomerang app and it had a lot of content, but that thing never got updated ever.
Yeah. I haven't seen the Zombie Island because that came out in like 2000 and I was too cool for school back then.
You gotta
But
watch
I
it.
just rewatched the original movies, with the Scooby-Doo and then Monsters Unleashed. They're fun, man. I mean, it's James Gunn.
Yeah, but then you also have to realize that Dean Cundey, director of freaking I Shrunk the Kid, cinematographer of The Thing in Jurassic Park, also directed the direct-to-video Scooby-Doo movies.
Oh,
And I'm a direct-to-video, direct-to-TV, where like the only good part about those movies is who's
are you talking about the live action direct?
yeah,
Because they did like two, right? Two or
yep,
three,
and they were both by the same person.
and they were bad. I haven't watched them.
We tried watching them, and I'm like, why does Shaggy seem like a stalker? Like the whole time we're like, Velma, get the fuck away from that man. He is not okay.
Well, the first Scooby-Doo is for sure like Innuendo City, like it is. I mean, everything from Shaggy's girlfriend is named Mary Jane to um, just everything about that
Yeah.
movie is an innuendo. I mean, Scrappy being, the little jerk and, and being the main bad of that movie is amazing. And then Mr. Bean being the villain is just the talking villain. So,
Yeah. It's definitely I'm a weirdo. I actually like the second movie more. But
I mean, the second movie is actually probably closer to the cartoon and kid friendly. Like, there's not as many innuendos. It's not. It's just not as crazy, right? Like the first one is crazy because
I
it's
mean
a
it does have Velma in a cat suit.
that's
So
true in a very tight skin suit. Yes.
which is clearly not was not clearly not a developmental moment for any of us ever.
um,
There's no awakening there.
that movie falters just from so many characters. They like replace the sets with just people, and so you
Yeah.
got like Alicia Silverstone and Peter Boyle and Seth Green. Like
I will say this, if you want like two reasons to even watch the direct-to-video Scooby movies. Oh, and apparently Dean Cuddy, they couldn't keep him on for the second movie. Um, but Robbie Amell from the babysitter plays Fred,
okay.
and he is hilarious. It's like
That's
you are
Steven's
clear,
cousin or brother or whatever, right?
yeah, Stephen's cousin from Arrow.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, dude, you are clearly above this, but you were making it work. And then Haley Kiyoko, the singer, she plays Velma,
That's crazy.
and like everyone else is just kind of there. But
Did
like
you ever watch that the Robbie ML upload on I think it's Prime?
I need to. Well, my mom has been telling
Fun.
me to watch this, and she has really good taste. And I'm like, why am I not watching this already?
It's really good.
I always confuse Upload with Upgrade, and I'm like, that's a very different movie.
Yes.
But yeah, this is kind of the way the show works. We start with talking about horror.
We
We
talk
move
about
into
everything that's
Scooby-Doo.
cool. That's kind of the way we started doing Night of the Nerdy Laser. It used to be like we went straight into the movie and then we just did like a scene breakdown but now it's turned into like this kind of like show and tell thing where
Oh,
we
I love the show and tell at the beginning. By the way, it made me happy. That's part
oh
of
yeah.
why I was like, we need to bring this on video.
Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah. So we do have the YouTube video where you can watch the show and tell, but like I was talking to you before, I'm really not good about uploading the video, so I need to get better. But yeah, we love the show and tell and then just bitching about stuff and we've been going to see a lot of movies lately, so we've been doing a lot of new stuff.
My only problem is that I need to be able to get comfortable on camera, and that's one of my toughest things. Because I'm so used to being audio only. That
Mm.
like one of the toughest things for me lately is just being comfortable on camera and not making weird faces.
Eh, I guess I just don't watch it back and I assume I'm the stud that I think I am.
There you go. That's the way you got to do it, man. But yeah, let's talk about Frankencon.
Let's do it, man. I'm excited for the fourth year. Tickets go on sale. I don't know when this drops, but they go on sale this Friday, August 30th at 8 p.m. Uh, so, um, so yeah, get your tickets. You can go on frankencontn.com and see the website, see what we got to offer. We have two guests lined up right now. Of course, that list will grow. We got the awesome Michael Berryman from a ton of stuff, Weird Science, Hills Have Eyes, Devil's Rejects, an episode on Alf.
He was in X Files. He was fantastic in the X Files. That's still my favorite performance he's done.
Yeah, yeah. He's just done a whole bunch of stuff. So, and I've never been able to meet him. I've heard he's an awesome guy.
He really
So
is.
I'm
He's very nice.
very excited to have him at the show. So that's really cool. Um,
Have you ever
and
heard the story about him when he went to go see The Hills Have Eyes in theaters?
uh-uh.
So apparently there were two women either in front of or behind him. And he kept hearing them say, "Oh, that man's hideous. He's terrifying." Nah. They're just scared of everything. And he's just watching, listening to them watch the movie. And then he just turns around. It's like, yeah, it's pretty scary, right? And they just screamed and like beat their way out of the theater. Like, was that he said that or said something like, yeah, it's pretty freaky, right? And then just
That's great. Um, and also, we're very proud to have Rhonda Shear with us. If you were a teen in the late 80s, 90s, you remember Up All Night on USA. Rhonda Shear was the host, and then Gilbert Godfrey came in and co-hosted, and they just showed not just horror movies, I mean, crazy, wacky sex comedies and stuff like that. So we're just really excited to have Rhonda at the show. She'll be doing a pre-show on Thursday. That'll be a separate ticket, or if you get VIP or super VIP, that show will be included. So lots of cool stuff there. And yeah, we're a hotel show too. I don't know how many cons you attend, but I love
oh
a
yeah, a
hotel
lot.
show because I love just like taking the elevator down and getting out and going to the show. And so that's really exciting to me that we have this hotel show at a really nice hotel. It's the space we have is amazing. It's two grand ballrooms basically. I mean, over 15,000 square feet. We have 60 plus vendors. We usually have a dozen guests. We have we take pride on our panels, not just being the boring, Q&As. We do scene breakdowns where like we just announced for Michael Berryman, we'll show the Weird Science motorcycle scene.
Oh, that's
And then Michael Berryman will do a live commentary over it, just talking about things that he remembers, what it was like, what the scene was like, stuff like that. We've done live commentaries in the past. We did a last year. We did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre with the original cast. They talked for about an hour. They talked for about 45 minutes. They didn't do a complete live commentary because, I mean, most of them were dead by the end of the movie, except for John Dugan, who played Grandpa. But
yeah.
we had him at the first year, and he had already covered that scene. Uh, so yeah. I mean, we're just really happy with being able to put on a show that we would like to go to for people. So it's a very cool experience. It's a lot of hard work, but in the end, it's usually worth it.
That sounds actually really awesome. I wish I could make my way out there.
Yeah, I
Um,
wish you could too. It is so the benefit of the hotel is we are connected to the airport. So if you saved up some money, you could fly to the airport and just you wouldn't even have to rent a car or anything.
yeah, I have so many shows lined up this year though. It's like all the convention money's basically gone to that.
Yeah, I'm going to Scarefest in October. We're friends with them, and that's a big Lexington, Kentucky show. I think they're hitting triple digits for guests
Yeah.
this year. I think they're right at 88, and actually tonight, oh, I may do a faux pas here. They just I think they were announcing. Oh yeah, I kind of called this. They just announced Clive Barker
Oh shit,
for
that's
this
actually
year.
awesome. My
Yeah.
friends, I didn't get to meet Clive Barker, but one of my things I've been getting signed is a death hardcover from Sandman.
Oh,
And so far I have it signed because there's a gallery in the back of it. And so far I've got that signed by Joe Quesada. I've got that signed by Greg Capullo. I've got it signed by Clive Barker, which my friend got me his signature on. So each piece is signed by the
oh,
artist.
oh,
But
nice.
the big one for me, because one of my favorite comic artists is Chris Bachalo, the artist who did the original Death miniseries, both of them,
Yeah.
and did Generation X, if you remember that from Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
And I mailed that out to him during 2020. He sent it back, and he signed that and three other books I had signed and sketched on all three.
Dang.
He drew like little stars, little X's, just everything on the books, and he signed it. So all three of those hardcovers are all signed by Chris Bachalo.
Wow. I'm gonna do my
Oh,
own show and tell here.
real quick, Richard.
Yeah.
Before doing the show and tell, I'm gonna take Cosmo out back, let him because I think he's gotta go.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
Cool.
So what's
And
up, Richard? What's going on for round two?
oh yeah, well, I was gonna do a little show and tell since we were just talking about Clive and stuff. So I met him back in 2005,
Oh, so
and got a sketch and his signature, obviously. So it's pretty cool. It's a little faded. I don't keep it very well, but it was this weird jump tribe thing. It didn't last very long, but it was a convention exclusive. Nobody's probably out. Let me see. What is this? Oh yeah, he's a weird looking guy. You can go on Clive Barker's website and see the idea they had, but it's like these plushies.
why is that? It's kind of adorable.
Yeah, and they were just weird little creatures and stuff. Um, it comes with a book, all sorts of stuff. So this is just something I've had. I was able to go to San Diego Comic-Con in 2005.
What's that called again? For anyone who wants to find it.
Jump Tribe, Clive Barker, Jump Tribe. Um, so it was made by Art Asylum. I think they released four. I've only seen two, so maybe they just released two, but they were talking about doing four. This guy is called Yabu.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, so but on his website, there's actually a long story about like what they were aiming for and doing, and so it's kind of cool, but it never kind of fleshed out, you know.
It reminds me of a kid's book he wrote. Actually, that was really good. It was a kid's novel called The Thief of Always.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I loved that book when I was in high school.
I never read Thief of Always, but what was the other one? I'm not gonna be able to remember it.
There you go.
Yeah,
Nailed it.
the abracadabra thing, one and two. I read them. I read those, and those were kind of kid friendly. Um,
Yeah.
and
Abarat. There you go.
Aberrat. That's
Oh,
close.
apparently there's a fourth one now.
There's a fourth one.
Let's see.
I
Let's
didn't
look
know
up
there was a
Abarat.
third one.
Let's see. How many books are there in the series now? This is how well prepared we are.
Hey, it's just like my podcast, so it's fine.
There you go.
I feel right at
Um,
home.
so let's see. Well, we'll find out later. Um,
So yeah, Frankencon is just one of those things where, I mean, I know every con tries to be different and says they're different, but I really do believe that if when people come to Frankencon, they really do see a difference and feel a difference. If you don't like, I'm not saying this as like a letdown or anything, but like we're not 20,000 people, So if you don't do well in crowds and you don't go to like the 5,000 attendee crowds and stuff like that, like Frankencon is a great show to go to because we have spaces where you can sit, relax, kind of get away. You can also get a hotel room and then go chill out if you need to. There's a restaurant, a bar. We have a huge panel room. So there's lots of uh, places to go if you just need away from the crowd.
the I gotta show you. I got mine too. So there was this horror store that was ran in Braunfels, Texas that unfortunately they closed down. They're gonna make another one, but it just doesn't look like it's happening.
Mm.
And they had like, and one of the big things, if you're a big Trick or Treat Studio fan, they brought in everything from Trick or Treat Studio. They got all the
Oh,
masks, everything there. And I don't know if it pops up on the Zoom background,
oh
but
yeah, I see it.
yep,
Is it
that
a
is
wallet?
mine. Yep. And I didn't even see him. Somehow I love this movie, and somehow I did not see this.
That's
Um,
great.
yeah,
I
there you
need
go.
a fun wallet. My wallet's boring.
But yeah, this is not cheap. This is not like rubber. This is actually leather, and it's
Hmm.
actually stitched. And like I mean, 8 more days to Halloween. 2 months, 8 more days, 3 months, 8 more days, whatever. It's all the same thing.
Yeah.
2 months
So
and 3 days. There you go.
so we have some really cool vendors. We have Orbit DVD, which I don't know if you know who they are.
Hmm.
but they are a major, they're a major online store. They also have a physical media store in Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah.
This is the third year that they've sponsored us, so you'll always see Orbit DVD presents um, Frankencon. Mark and Deb are just awesome. They're really cool to us. They set up every year as well. Also next year for 2025, we have Vinegar Syndrome as a sponsor and a vendor.
Nice.
So they'll be there taking a lot of my money, I assume. Also, the store Goblin House. I don't know if you know who they are, but they
No, I
sell
don't.
online toys and they have their own masks and stuff like that. So it's Goblin, Haus. But we get a lot of really cool vendors as well as independent artists, authors, um, people that make their own candles or jewelry or we have a lot of independent filmmakers because we do the Franken Film Fest,
Yeah.
which is much more phallic based than we thought it would be when we started the Franken Film Fest. But
Sorry.
but yet here we are, 3 years in, and we actually had one of our now friends. He submits. He had submitted to the first three film fests. I'm not sure if he's going to next year. I hope he does. But he did erecting a monster, and they're basically a love letter to like Basket Case and Brain Dead and stuff like that, where his penis gets really big and kind of jumps off his body, and there you go.
See my inner 12-year-old always find that funny. So I'm like, I should need to check this out apparently.
But for Bride of Frankencon, which was our second year, we were going to change our name every year, like, Frankencon and Bride of Frankencon, and it's going to go on and on and on. But
Yeah.
it kind of became a little confusing for people, and we were having a hard time branding it, so we're just Frankencon now. But in the heart of hearts, year three would have been called Frankencon 3D, third year, and most part threes are 3D for some reason and
Yeah.
horror. And then for part four, for the fourth year, we would have been, and this would have been harder to brand, but Corey and them go with me because I'm crazy, but it would have been Frankencon in space.
See, because you don't want to say final chapter because then people think the convention's closing.
Well, we could say, well, okay, this is our last year, and then just come back, and it won't matter
Yeah.
because that's what horror movies always do. But no, so you can go on House of Frankenstein, or House of Frankencon, Son of Frankencon. You can do all sorts of things. We were trying to be a little more original with the Frankencon in space and all that, but I mean, in the end, it's always Frankencon, so we're good with that. We do try to do our theming um like for our third year, our design from the wonderful Will from well, I'm drawing a blank on the name of the company now, Wide Awake Studios. He so the year three was 3D, so it's Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein, like coming out of the a videotape.
That's so cool.
Oh, actually, I might have it. No. So I have the Bride of Frankencon. The Bride is my favorite design we've done,
Oh,
and I
that's
really want to.
gorgeous.
Yeah, it is. It is gorgeous. I mean, the videotape, everything about it. Will knocked it out of the park. I want this as a tattoo eventually, but I haven't gotten there yet.
The yeah, the next big show I'm going to be going to, like I said, is over at the Texas gas station for the gas
Okay, yeah.
station, and it's going to be the Talk Scary to Me event. Scott Terracom is going to be there. Daniel Harris, William Forsythe, and Tyler May. And we've decided, especially since more and more places are becoming pet friendly. We've started taking our dog with us to like little signings and stuff. He met Brian Posehn,
That's great.
and apparently Brian Posehn a dad dad because it was at a comic store, and I didn't even know Brian Posehn was going to be there, and so she thought that I knew he was going to be there, and I just had no idea. I'm there shopping for comics, and apparently Posehn just finished the signing. He's on the other side of the store with them,
Oh,
and I met him before. I met him like 10 years ago, so I'm like, I'm good. I wish I could have met him again, but busy nerding. But Cosmo, he's going around everywhere. He sees this giant dude, and he goes between his legs to go to a shelf. When Brian Posehn put his hand down to him to get a pet, and he's like, "No, I go over here," and just went around the corner. And I love it because Jen says to him, I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to let him go over there." Brian Posehn, thing I will always remember, he can go wherever he wants. And then he reached down and started getting the pets, and Cosmo's kind of best friend. And
yeah.
apparently Tyler remains a big dog dad, so I'm like, okay, I want
Oh,
to
yeah.
bring them to this. Yeah.
Yeah, so Brian Posehn is funny. We were going to me and my wife went to California in February. And so, obviously we went from here, I think, to Dallas and to Los Angeles. And we were getting on our flight to Los Angeles, and I was wearing a Demons shirt that I had
Oh,
because
nice.
I saw them do the live orchestra, for it. Um, the
So,
Suspiria live orchestra was way better, but I'll take Demons. But anyway, I was wearing my Demons shirt, and we're walking through, the first class, and all of a sudden I hear, "Nice shirt." And I look down, and it's Brian Posehn telling me I got a nice shirt.
okay, if you're looking down and it's like, how tall is Brian Posehn? Or even you looked at your
No, no, no.
shirt.
He was sitting in the first class. So
Okay, because I'm gonna say he's a giant of a man.
no,
So
no,
I'm
no.
like,
We
how
were
tall are you,
walking
Richard?
through, and he was sitting in the aisle seat of first class, and that's all he said. And I said, so he said that, and I said thanks, and then I stepped like another step forward, and I said, "Is your name Brian?" He's like, "Yeah, man." I was like, "Cool." And then that was my interaction with
That's
Brian
awesome.
Posehn.
I
Of
was,
course,
I was gonna be
he's a
like,
hard
Richard's like, I'm
man
like
to
too
like
tall.
not recognize, right?
It's got the hair and the height. It's
And
like
yeah.
weird. Richard's like, yeah, I'm actually 8 feet tall. I know you can't really tell on camera.
Yeah, yeah. That's funny. But no, I mean I love cons, I've been going to cons. I think my first con was 2001 or 2000, somewhere around there. And
Yeah.
cons are so wildly different than back then. But I love them, I've gone to San Diego Comic-Con in 2005. I've gone to Chiller Theater. That was 2004, I think. Um, I've gone to Dragon Con in
I've always
Atlanta,
wanted to
which
go to
is
Dragon Con.
it's crazy. It's not for the faint of heart, and you really have to have a lot of money to go.
But yeah,
And
that's why you
not
gotta
even
go. That's why you go to 10 o'clock, man.
honestly, I've been twice to Dragon Con. Neither time did I get an autograph from anybody. Like because I mean, almost either time, especially the second time, I didn't even see the vendor, to see the celebrities. Like
Wow,
you can,
it was
I mean,
chaotic.
'cause it's Seven Hotel. It's the whole downtown of Atlanta.
That's
So
what I've
like,
heard.
yeah, it's crazy. There is so much going on, and I love panels. I'm a panel guy,
Yeah,
so I love going. And I remember, I mean, I went to fan panels. I remember I went to a Lost panel, the TV show, not just
yeah.
people who were lost, and
You mean the other people at Dragon Con are trying to find the
yeah,
celebrities?
trying their way. So I went, and honestly, that was the most fun I'd had. I mean, like it was just like 50 people that love the show, and we just all were talking over each other and having a great time. And I love the show Lost, even though I don't really like the ending, but it's okay. I have the show Leftovers, and I just pretend that's the show Lost.
There you go. It's kind of like I watch Battlestar Galactica and I don't really like the ending, so I just cry myself to sleep.
Have you ever seen the show The Leftovers?
I've heard it's really damn good. I need to watch it.
It's so good, dude. And there's like 27 episodes, 3 seasons. It moves very quick, and it's just like Lost. It's made by one of the creators.
Damon Lindelof. Yeah.
Yeah. I get them and Carlton Cuse. I mean, I get him and Carlton Cuse uh mixed up, but it's kind of like Lost in the sense of every season, even though there's only three, are like different seasons, right? Like the season finale changes what the next season's going to be.
Okay, I need to check that out. See, Damon Lindelof is one of my dream guests. Like, if I could ever get him on the show, like right there. I've actually closer than I think because we actually had Tim Minear on the show. It
Oh,
was the showrunner for American Horror Story on
yeah.
the Ryan Murphy, and he also did Firefly and Angel and all that too. So it's like if I, my mindset is like if we get Tim Minear, I could probably get David Lindelof. Probably,
That would be awesome.
yeah. But we got to talk about this before we get everything wrapped up because we
Yeah.
touched on Night of the Nerdy Laser podcast, but we didn't really go super far into it. Like we've kind of danced around it as we've talked. How did that get started?
Well, I mean, I still, like I said, started podcasting around 2010, I think. I think I started listening to podcasts around 2008. I mean, you could find them. They weren't nearly as readily available as they are now. I found a few on Apple Podcasts with like Scott Sigler, who is an author and is credited to be kind of a godfather of podcasts
Hmm.
in general because he gives his books away for free audio on the podcast, which he still does today. Um,
Yeah.
and then I found a horror podcast called, it used to be a website. I think mm, fearshop.com's horror podcast, I think, because I think fearshop.com used to be like a horror store. I don't think it exists anymore, but anyway, it was these two guys that just talked about horror movies, and that's how I found out about a bunch, a bunch of foreign stuff like Cold Prey and Martyrs and uh, just really all those kind of classics that, Dead Snow and Rare Exports, just so many.
Yeah.
Um, so then I started doing kind of a one-man show podcast. Nobody listened to it probably. And then I got, I guess the podcast after that, I started with this doing a wrestling podcast. And where we would just talk about wrestling and stuff. And that went on for about 3 or 4 years. And then I did a horror assignment podcast, and that went on for 2 or 3 years. And then I did Nerdy Laser, and that went on for probably 2 or 3 years. And then now I'm on Night of the Nerdy Laser because I think Nerdy Laser went for like 110 or 20 episodes, and
Yeah.
now Night of the Nerdy Laser has gone on for 160. So
Ugh.
really,
Holy crap.
this latest like pop, what I consider popular podcasting for me is like in the, really in the 275. We're probably closer to 300 episodes than anything. But this iteration of Nine Nerdy Laser, like it was me and my buddy Matt, and then we brought our buddy Jeff on. And then Matt stepped down and Jeff took over kind of with me. And then me and Jeff have just been doing stuff. We do this wacky show, which you can find on YouTube. It's called Trash Talk. It's under its own playlist. So
Yeah.
it's meant to be a half-hour show, and there's video clips in it, and it's really a lot of fun. So we've covered movies like Tammy and the T-Rex, and
Nice.
it's meant to be like trashier movies. Um, what's that? Doom Asylum, which is a great movie. We've
Never
covered
seen
a
it. I've
bunch.
heard of it. I've
So,
never seen it.
oh, Doom Asylum. Arrow
Yeah.
put it out, and I'd never heard of it. But dude, it's great, and
I
it's
need to give
got
it a
Patty
look.
Mullen in it. So,
Really?
but yeah,
Okay, I need to give that a look.
yeah.
Speaking of speaking of horror, speaking of various levels of horror in terms of quality and scares, are you gonna be trying to watch the last drive night marathon on Friday?
Well, it's funny, we had Joe Bob and Darcy at the first Frankencon.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was really for a buddy of mine, it was a dream come true for Corey for like he's gotten, Joe Bob, and then we had the three Scream Queens from last year, and we've just really focused in on this kind of cult movie kind of guest stars, which I mean we filtered in like Felissa Rose and Tom Matthews and CJ Graham also, but we also have like Frank Henenlotter and Kevin Van Hintenrick. Um I will probably start at night. I am off this weekend, so that's a bonus. So
Yeah, same.
is it literally six movies in a
It's six
row?
movies.
Like,
It's basically like a reiteration of what they did when they first brought back Last Drive-In with the
yeah.
initial marathon.
So I'll
I'm gonna try. I
probably
probably won't be able to make the whole thing.
So no, well, generally what happens if I do sit down to watch Last Drive-In is I fall asleep on the couch with my cat, and then I wake up around the second movie, and then I watch it and I fall asleep again, and then I go to bed.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we had so our tickets for Frankencon go on sale
Oh,
at 8 o'clock.
hold on,
So I'm gonna do a live stream from 8 to 9, but then I'll probably watch Joe Bob.
Richard. Give me 1 second. All right, but yeah, like you were saying, you basically start watching the marathon, kick off, fall asleep about the first movie with your cat,
Yep.
wake up for the second one.
Yeah, and then I eventually go to bed. But we'll see. Maybe I'll power through at least two or three of them. But I'm doing the Frankencon live stream from 8 to 9, so I'll have to do that for the ticket launch party. But
Yeah,
like you were saying about Night of the Nerdy Laser, we always kind of get off topic, but that's fine because that's what I do. But I did want to mention, like, I just love podcasting. Like that's how me and Corey met, actually, and then it spawned into this. That's how me and Corey met. That's how me and Matt became friends. That's how me and Jeff met. I mean, so podcasting is just very special to me. I also have a good friend, John. I just have really good relationships with people because of podcasting, and
it's
I
just
really
fun.
like that part of it.
Like honestly, it's just fun.
Yeah, it is. It can be taxing a little bit. I mean, we do weekly, and then we have to watch a movie, right? So it's hard for me to sometimes fit in a movie. But I'm learning to be better about it. Because if I can watch it, if we can get ahead a little bit and then I can watch the movie and be okay, then I don't have to stress out about watching a movie.
Yeah, I'm working on my like after the holiday, I'm gonna start working on my our Halloween special, which is all the holiday specials are the most fun part of the podcast for me because what I'll do, I don't tell the rest of the team what we're gonna be watching.
Oh,
I
nice.
just I put together a compilation of like a movie, possibly a short feature like a holiday special, or and then like different shorts and commercials, and I kind of cut it all into one little mini production. Like one year we like well, the running thing is that we'll put in a commercial for like just something tacky but something Halloween themed. And but the thing that my co-host realizes that we'll never actually show if we show a commercial for something, we'll never actually show it during the actual special.
Hmm.
And then so one year I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna put on the Kiss Phantom of the Park commercial. And then I'm like, plot twist, guys, we're watching Kiss Phantom of the Park. So the fact that my co-hosts have not killed me yet is pretty awesome.
That is a bonus, especially if I've never seen it, but I've heard.
It's as bad as you heard.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of this year we're doing a cool Halloween special. I mean, we typically do a Halloween special. Last year we did all the Saw movies.
Oh, oh God. We're good for a while.
It's a 4.5 hour podcast.
Jesus Christ, man.
But what we did was we spent months recording it. So we would like watch a movie and then record 20 minutes, 25, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever. And then a couple weeks later we would watch the next movie and then record it and then we just put them all together.
Sleep, man, it helps.
Yeah, it's a good sleeping mechanism, much like I mean, look, I love the Saw movies, but nostalgia is a cruel thing sometimes where those movies are a tough watch for me back, but um they
Some of them are
actually
really good, like the ones with the.
for me they get better, right? Like 4, 5, and 6, I think are great.
I will disagree with you on five, but I like. For me, they kind of have a Star Trek method, where like for me, I tend to prefer the even numbered ones
Oh
until we
yeah.
get past six, and then that all kind of falls off.
See, I Saw 3 is my favorite just because of some nostalgia reasons, really.
Saw 3 is a solid movie.
It's a good movie, and them killing off John Kramer just was the worst.
I know,
They should.
but the way they did it was a good surprise. So you didn't expect it, and you're like, how the hell are they gonna resolve this? And apparently, resolving it means that he gets much younger because he has a hat on. So that's pretty tight.
Dude, that's my favorite. That's one of my favorite things is like CGI. Screw that. Turn his hat backwards.
Yeah, and then you look at like something like Dexter where they had a budget, and it's like, I'm in college now because check out my crappy wig. It's like, are you though? Are you? All right, I guess you are in college now because of your shitty wig. So the meme got it wrong because the meme says he's a teenager, and I'm like, you clearly never watched the show, did you, internet? Oh,
Um, yeah. So I do love the Saw movies, but you know, I mean, the older you get, sometimes the stuff fades.
see, I say that, but I'm going to be showing you something real brief before we get everything wrapped up because I'm going to throw out a recommendation for you. I don't
Okay.
know if you'll necessarily do it on the podcast. If you don't, that's fine. But I'm going to throw it out there. It's something you should watch for Halloween anyway.
Okay.
Let me get this pulled up for you. I always forget what the share thing is because I'm an idiot.
Although my nostalgia never wavers for the movie Rad or Prayer of the Roller Boys, so we're good there.
Good. I'm my former co-host. We say former because it's a very complicated story of why he's a former co-host. But he was a big fan of the movie Rad, and I have not seen that yet. So I'm going to
Dude,
share this.
it's in the other room, but I met Bill Allen, who plays Crew, but I have like the original soundtrack cassette tape.
Here.
Huh?
I want you to watch this. I feel like you'll appreciate this. Let me turn this in a little bit.
It's Halloween.
It's me, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
Join Scooby in their first Halloween movie mystery.
Let's go, guys.
It's
Please
real?
ASAP.
And they aren't just looking for
Hold on, it's
treats.
better.
We got him!
Excuse me. We don't know these guys.
Because you mentioned being a comic book fan.
A familiar villain
Dr. Jonathan Crane, an escapee from Arkham Asylum.
with a few tricks up his sleeve.
I am plunging this entire town into unmitigated terror.
You giddy up! No, you giddy up! A fearsome new monster. Double giddy up on the double! Now it's up to brain power
Bill Nye.
Velma, Fred, I got you something. To put this mystery to the test. Welcome to the future of mystery solving.
Jeepers, it's the
Did
creepers.
you expect any of this?
Night Riders. They're getting geared up
What do we know about these jack-o'-lanterns?
to unmask the truth.
You'll eat your pants right off your butt. Zoinks! Orange, freaky, aggressive drivers.
Light 'em up, Mr. Nye.
They're not going down without a fright.
We need to squash every squash that we see.
Are you frightened yet?
Run! Halloween's turned upside down and inside out.
Happy Halloween, Scooby.
Wow.
Whoa! Like that escalated fast.
Look for it on digital and DVD.
That may have been the one good thing about 2020.
So that's already out?
Yeah, that came out in 2020.
How did I not know about this?
This looks freaking awesome, doesn't it? The fact that you
Yes.
get the fact. Oh, and Neil deGrasse Tyson's in it too.
Really?
There is a Predator homage in this movie with Fred getting ready to fight the pumpkins. You know when you hear about something so awesome where you're like, what the fuck? Where am I?
Is this streaming?
It is unfortunately not available on streaming, but you can buy it on iTunes and Amazon. and you can
Well,
buy it on
damn
Reddit.
it. I guess I'll buy it.
But yeah, we have the DVD, and like we watch every Halloween, and we're like, so we get the really crappy Halloween special they did last year on Scooby, but we can't get this one on HBO. All right.
Yeah, I don't understand the Max thing.
I refuse to call it Max. That's why I never will say the word X, because I'm just not an asshole.
Well, Max is easier for me than the X because at least it was HBO Max, and I'm just dropping the HBO part, which I'm lazy, so that works. But I mean, you think X is easier to say than Twitter, but I'm grumpy old asshole, I guess.
Yeah. But with that, I wanted to say thank you once again, Richard, for coming on the show.
Oh yeah,
Um,
man.
it's been a great time. This went by really fast. I did not expect to go by this fast for this hour. But for those, once again, for those 5 people out there, Richard Ewell, professional wizard, conventioner, and horror fan at large. Um, where can people find you on this crazy, wonderful, wonderful, totally non-toxic place called social media and the internet?
Well, I have my like kind of geeky Instagram at Nerdy Laser. Then you can follow at Nerdy Laser on Instagram or on. You can follow Night of the Nerdy Laser on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. But more importantly, probably than all those things, you can follow Frankencon TN on all the socials of that. So frankencontn.com. It's in the southeast, so if you're in the south, you should definitely check us out and just follow the socials, and you'll see all the cool stuff we got coming to you in 2025.
Nice. And of course, you can find Circuit 42 on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram under the cleverly named Ian McIntosh. And of course, you can listen to Circuit 42 on Spotify and iTunes and Google Play. And you can watch us on YouTube. That is the smoothest I've ever said that on this entire show.
Awesome. It was all because of me.
There you go. Get your powers. But
I really appreciate you letting me come on and talk about stuff. I'd love to come back and just, talk about movies, stuff. I mean, that's what I love to do.
dude, there's so much stuff we could talk about. I mean, hell, wrestling right there. We'll be talking for at least 3 hours.
Yeah. So, anytime, just let me know, man. And thank you once again, Ian.
Definitely. And thank you for being on. And thank you everyone out there for listening and watching the newest episode of Circuit 42. Have a great night, everyone. Bye.